All right, it is 7 p.m. We're going to call the Windsor Township Planning Commission meeting to order. I need a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes.
So moved.
And a second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I need a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
I'll make a motion.
Polly
I'll second it.
and John, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public comment period.
I don't think anyone signed it.
Anyone want to sing us a Christmas carol maybe, or? All right, old business, South Schuylkill Property Group LLC, the self-storage facility land development improvements agreement. Any updates on that at all? Or?
Well, that's on the agenda for the board meeting tomorrow night.
Okay,
So I didn't
so
know if
nothing
anyone
for
would
here.
be here, but that's up for tomorrow.
Okay. Blue Heron, Rob, you got any comments on?
Yeah, we're looking forward to speaking with the supervisors tomorrow night.
Okay.
I have a comment regarding that,
Okay.
Rob.
Yes.
So, just so I understand this, you're gonna walk in tomorrow night and hand some papers to us for the first time, and we're supposed to approve it without having time to look at it?
No, this was a follow-up to last month's meeting with the planning commission when the conditional plan approval was recommended. So we're following up on that with the supervisors to make sure that the supervisors agree that the plan is worthy of a conditional plan approval.
But the supervisor hasn't seen the plan.
Is there a different vehicle for the supervisors to see the plan other than a motion by the planning commission before it goes to the supervisors? That's generally the process that I'm familiar with.
So you're asking me to approve it because they said it was okay, without me seeing it?
I'm not
No,
suggesting.
that's what the process we're playing out here.
Okay.
So was there plans given to anybody?
Yeah, the plans were submitted to the township as the normal process of plan review. Why they didn't get to you, I can't say.
Well,
honestly.
I need a plan.
Okay.
I can't, I'm telling you in advance, I'm not approving the plan until I see a plan. And I can't see a plan for 2 seconds and vote on it.
I understand this. Is there a better method in the future that we should prescribe to get you?
I don't know where the broken link's at, but the broken link is what I'm suggesting.
Okay.
Okay.
I can email you a plan when I get back to my house tonight if you want. I don't know if that's going to be acceptable for you for tomorrow night, but
So does the township have plans?
the township has plans. Well, actually, I apologize for this. Normally we would submit paper plans, but since the township doesn't have regular hours, what we have been doing is emailing digital submissions to the township and then bringing paper copies for review.
So you say the township, who's the township?
The township is your engineer, the administrator, the solicitor, and your zoning officer. So we email digital copies to the township representatives for the review, and then we bring paper copies in for discussion at the meeting.
Okay. Those individuals are not running the township, the supervisor running the township, okay?
Okay.
And things are going to change dramatically in a few weeks, dramatically.
Okay.
So if you want that approved tomorrow, there's going to have to be plans submitted.
And how would you like to see those submitted then? Whatever guidance you give me, I'll make sure that we get it
I
done.
mean, at this point, just email them to them.
That's right.
Okay.
But, so I've been doing this for like 15 years, and I can tell you that while it's not ideal, that is the way it generally works. When you're in a decision-making process, those plans get delivered to you the night of the meeting, you look at them, you ask questions directly, it's all recorded, it all happens in that time frame. And if you need to look at it for 3 hours and ask questions and bounce stuff back and forth, it all happens in that meeting. Whether I was on Borough Council or Planning Commission, there was never a review period ahead of time. If you guys want to do that, I don't think that's a terrible idea, and I think we talked about when it's submitted.
Well, Josh,
It gets emailed to
that's going
everybody.
to be the new culture going forward.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's on record.
I feel
That's-
like there are plans submitted and they're like presently physically in an office. And there should be able to be viewed at any time.
I think the
right?
physically in the office is bullshit, honestly. I think it should only be emailed. Like, who looks at these paper copies anyway? Like,
I do.
Rob,
I
Rob
appreciate
should
it.
bring them when he comes in, but do you, like, you're gonna look at them on email.
I like to look at them on paper.
Okay. Generally, most municipalities, that's how it works, is we'll submit 8, 10, 15 copies, whatever the saldo says, we drop them off at the township. Since Windsor Township doesn't have regular hours, it makes it difficult for making paper copy submissions. So that's why we, again, in discussion with you guys and with your
Are
consultants.
those the paper copies up there from last meeting?
I can't say specifically what those are. They might be the ones that I brought with for discussion at the
I
planning
feel like we
committee.
left them just like that.
Let me take a quick look at them.
Sorry, Josh, I'm taking the meeting over.
No, it's all right.
It's going on too long.
11.3, these should be the latest copies, yeah.
Second, please.
Yes, those should be.
Davis.
Okay. Here you go, sir.
All right, I'll look at them and we'll have comments tomorrow.
Absolutely, and if you have better guidance in the future how you want to get plans to you for future reviews, please let me know. I'll make sure it happens.
That's internal, Rob. You did what you were supposed to.
Okay.
Internally, whatever that protocol is, whether it's sent out to everybody or it needs to be set up with Secretary Russell and with the engineering firm. Like, when you get a set of plans, just blow them out to everybody.
Okay.
But that's not your fault. That is.
That's all right. I mean, whatever we can do to make it easier, well, absolutely.
Yeah,
It
appreciate that.
doesn't take any more effort for us to add a couple names to an email list.
Right.
Okay.
You are on the agenda for tomorrow, so good
Tomorrow
luck.
night, is Dave Mazate gonna be there? I was told he's in Florida. Is that true? Don't know. I was told he's going to Florida, so can these guys get their plans signed?
They need 2 out of 3, so,
Oh, they're good then.
yeah,
He's gonna be here.
yeah.
Cause she don't count, right? Not till
Not
January.
yet. She still counts, but they're both done.
I better not count for a couple more weeks.
All right, highlight of the evening here, Raywell Apartments. You guys are up.
Okay, good evening. We have some plans here. So the cover sheet pretty much shows the overall property. Most of the action happens on the later plans, but this one essentially shows you, it's a large overall property. The existing apartment building is right on the south side of Woodland Road, right where the municipal boundary line between Hamburg Borough and Windsor Township lies. This is the existing 5-unit apartment building. It's there now, it's in a certain state of disrepair, so what the property owner would like to do is tear that down and build a new 5-unit apartment building. The existing parking on the side of the road is gravel, it's not very organized. So as part of that, we're planning to do some improvements for parking to provide, curbing separation between the parking spaces and the buildings, some concrete walkways, again, to make it safer access, make it better access. Make it more compliant. So what we have here, it's pretty simple. Again, we're going to remove the existing 5-unit building. We're going to put in a new one. The zoning hearing board reviewed this for the expansion of existing nonconformity, the relocation of an existing nonconformity, and encroachment in the front yard setback. We're actually moving the building further back off the road than it is currently. Again, all these improvements are actually making things better than they are now. So the plans we submitted show the new building, shows the site grading and the revisions to the parking. We have review comments from their township engineer. Most of them are pretty straightforward. There's a couple waiver requests for consideration, but I think before we dive into the letter, is there any questions that you guys have just looking at the plan at face value that you'd like to go over?
Where is parking going to be?
So Parking is going to be here. It's essentially on-street parking, what we're
Oh,
proposing to do.
yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah, so, tell you what, if we slide the, you can see how it's existing versus proposed next to each other. So right now, you just have this gravel area on the side in front of the building with a concrete walkway directly on the front wall. We're essentially moving that whole building and walkway back, and we're gonna provide, we're gonna widen this so that we have a 12-foot wide travel lane, and then we'll have a 12-foot wide parking spaces here, with a concrete curb to provide a physical barrier from the road to pedestrian access.
How far back will the,
So the scale of this whole thing doesn't seem to make sense. Because the scale is different in size.
The building's gonna be bigger than what it is now.
how far back is it gonna be off the road? How much further back is it gonna be off the
So
road?
we're gonna be 22 feet off the building setback line. I can't say specifically how much further back that is right now, but, just if we line up the sun on the road here, we're,
5 feet.
right, something like that.
I thought it was on the same footprint. Am I not, was that not a thing at some point?
It originally was supposed to be on the same footprint, but he went and got a variance so that it
So we
can
can move it
actually
back.
be moved back and expanded
A little
slightly.
bigger.
Correct.
You gotta have new concrete walls and stuff too.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole.
Everything brand new?
Yeah,
Okay.
everything brand new.
Are you gonna use a septic system or sewer?
Correct, the septic system, the
Septic system.
existing septic system is there and functioning, that's
Are
gonna
you
be,
use that yet?
that's gonna continue to be used, same thing with the water supply. I believe you guys looked at the plan they had for subdivision to remove this house up the road here from the rest of the property. As part of that, they had to do septic testing, which was done recently over in this area over here. So they have testing for an alternate site, like if the existing system should fail, there's a passable site now that's been confirmed.
Is this old septic tank used, or is this just marking a septic tank that was abandoned somewhere along the line?
To my knowledge, that's an old septic tank that is not currently being used, but I do not know that for sure. I'd have to confirm that information.
Some of this depends on what the municipality of Hamburg would do as far as septic, right? I think I saw somewhere there might be a possibility of hooking into public sewer at some point, or is that only if it fails? Is that how it works?
No, so Hamburg Borough sewer, the closest sewer is somewhere down in here on Woodland.
Okay.
So it's not really feasible at this point now to bring the sewer up to connect.
Okay,
And there's already an existing system that's functioning for the 5-unit apartment building that's there.
that's fine.
So really, we're not increasing flows to that existing system, we're just improving things again. We're just gonna remove the old building and put in a new building and have better, better facilities for the building itself, but we'll still maintain the same water and sewage that's there now.
what is this?
So this,
Watershed?
right, so any runoff that comes off the road and runs along the curb, we're now concentrating stormwater flow.
Okay.
So this rock apron here is essentially to prevent erosion when it flows off the end of the curb and goes down the hill.
And how do you expect people to park in these parking spaces?
It's parallel parking. They basically have.
So they're gonna essentially be stopping in the middle of Woodland Road and backing into these parking spaces.
So depending on how things work, like right now, they're kind of.
Right now, it's a
doing that.
mismatch, but the idea would be that this would be an improvement, which
Correct.
it does appear to be an improvement, but all things considered, they will be stopping on Woodland Road and, backing into a parking space.
So we're providing 2 parking spaces for each unit, plus a handicap space, which was more spaces being provided than was before.
Yeah.
With the size of these units, I don't know that I would foresee that you're gonna have 2 cars for every unit. So more than likely, I would like to think that you're not gonna necessarily have a whole lot of times where people are backing up to parallel park into these spaces, that there might be 2 spaces adjacent that you could do a pull in and park there. But at some point, you're right, there is gonna be somebody that's gonna be stopping to parallel park on these spaces.
Are they doing that now?
I can't speak, I can only speak to my use when I came on the lot. When there's enough cars in there, you have trouble figuring out a space. Sometimes people park on a diagonal, sometimes they park straight in, sometimes they park sideways. There's no real control or regulation on what's happening.
Did you look into a parking lot down where the old barn was? Like, was that a feasibility or a consideration at any point?
There isn't really any. I had thought of filling that whole area in on the left-hand side,
Yeah,
but it would really be tight.
tight for this
And
many
you-
cars.
And we'd be creating more super steep banks around there.
Right.
And more impervious.
Currently, I
coverage.
have 4 of the units are occupied, and there's 2 people with vehicles.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that when this is all done, you'll probably improve the clientele maybe with brand new units, and they might have 2
Well,
cars.
It will some, but, I mean, the clientele I have now, I can't really complain about.
Sure.
So what you're saying is, if we're upgrading it,
You
it
might
will
get a
cost
higher,
more,
yeah,
so people will probably be maybe 2 vehicle
yeah,
family or occupants.
theoretically.
But I do agree, a nice building, you'll get
Yeah.
better clientele, that's a given fact.
How does it work for plowing snow along here then? Like if, you know, like in town, you need to move your car off of the street when there's
Those cars are
snow.
just gonna get buried in there, is what's gonna happen.
There's private parking, which means that the property owner is responsible for snow removal and maintenance of those parking spaces. We discussed this with Hamburg Borough. They had a similar concern, not necessarily specific about snow removal, but about ownership and maintenance of those parking spaces. And they seem satisfied with the proper notation and on a plan that states that it's going to be owned, maintained by the property owner, that it's not the responsibility of the borough and or the township for maintenance of those parking spaces.
He's giving you a 12-foot parking stall, which most cars are only like 7 foot. So if you go up against the curb, there still should be about a 4-5 foot buffer between the road edge and a vehicle.
What is this space going to be between the sidewalk and the building?
Grass. It's basically a buffer of sorts to, again, between your road and your parking areas and the building itself. Typically, most new buildings are designed with a similar.
I mean, my thought is, what if this proposed macadam area becomes more of your grass buffer? Your parking spaces are then set back 10 to 12 feet off the road, and then you have a driving lane in between, so these tenants, this almost becomes like a circular driveway, so that they can pull in and out here, and they're essentially backing into a parking space that would be off of the circular driveway. I don't know if that was ever factored into one of your plans.
What were you saying?
So instead of your cars essentially pulling on Woodland Road and stopping in the middle of the road and then backing into a space, if this was grass here and you actually had a drive lane, the drive lane would ultimately start here, go against this sidewalk and exit here. And then your parking spaces would be along this side and your grass buffer would actually be on this side. That would alleviate some of the problems with the snow, at least from the road, piling all these people in. You'd have a drainage area, and then these people, instead of, again, now having to pull out on a Woodland Road, they'd be able to pull out here where maybe this is a little bit more accessible in and out. I'd almost rather you have 2 less parking spaces because of them only being small 1-bedroom apartments. End up with 8 parking spaces, but you have a drive access here and a drive access here, so people are actually able to pull in and then pull out, versus right now it's not very busy. You know, if 61 gets divided, we don't know what future traffic is here, and stopping in the middle of the road seems like we're going backwards. So I don't know if that's a consideration, but that would alleviate some of those problems, in my opinion.
Woodland Road is there's like a blind spot there
Yeah.
when you go around that bend. to keep like a buffer, a 4-foot buffer, 5-foot buffer.
Is there a reason why you don't think that would work?
Even if you gotta take the parking lot up further towards 61 a little bit.
Well, I guess, let me just start with number one. I don't know that the planning commission has the authority to say that we can do less than 2 parking spaces per unit,
Sure.
because that's a zoning requirement.
Yeah.
I know technically it may be existing non-conforming now, so I guess that might be a question for interpretation from your zoning officer at some point in time, but I think if we look at this again, you'd have less of a separation between the building and your parking spaces, which I understand that you have less concern for that than you do for here. You may have a 4-foot gap between a space between the road and your access lane, and then again, we're adding more impervious coverage, which therefore ends up being a greater impact to the site. As you see the plan right now, we're not expanding, we're actually reducing overall impervious coverage. If we have to add in basically a whole nother 12-foot wide travel lane, you're essentially doubling the amount of impervious coverage that we're proposing here. That's gonna then require, additional stormwater.
Where's the reduction in impervious coverage coming from?
Because we're removing all of the gravel, so like the gravel kind of expands back into here
Yeah.
now. So we're trimming that off with, the building's getting slightly bigger, the concrete walkways are getting slightly more, the macadam.
Well, the building square foot wise is gonna be about right on what it is now. Because it extends out the back in the center further than it
Yeah.
is on the
Right.
edges. And that's gonna be shortened.
Is grass considered impervious?
No, it's pervious.
Okay, that's
Grass,
different,
grass pervious.
different township, okay.
I don't, is there somewhere that grass is considered impervious?
In terms of runoff, pretty much. Amity.
Have you ever come across that?
No, most of the time, grass is always pervious because if it rains, the idea is like when the rain falls on roof, concrete, macadam, it runs off. If it
Yeah.
falls on grass
Yeah.
areas, it's gonna get absorbed into the soils.
Gravel is
So-
considered impervious in
Mhm.
most townships,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Couldn't have a parking lot here at all, could you?
No, I mean, unfortunately, like the slopes drop off, like, as Mr. Martin was talking about earlier, that over here you can see.
Yeah, that's really bad.
It's steep here to go down. It's
Yeah.
just, there really isn't a feasible area over here to provide a typical parking lot that would have a single driveway access and, parking spaces that meet the zoning ordinance.
What's the speed limit on Woodland Road?
35, I think. No, 35.
Let me see, 25 miles an hour.
Are you tonight looking for us to review this and recommend this specific for consideration by the supervisors? Is that the intention? Or is tonight more like approving the waivers and?
If we can get all the approvals tonight, I would love to. I mean, again, I'm looking to get feedback from the planners. If we can agree that this layout works, and that you would recommend this to the supervisors for approval, yes. If you would recommend it to the supervisors with conditions or alterations, I can say that the planning commission from the Hamburg Borough asked for a gravel walkway to be provided along Woodland Road leading over to the western property line here, because they have concerns that they want to make sure that, one of their big concerns for any development in the borough is to provide pedestrian access to connect to downtown.
Because people will walk that road to go to town, probably.
They could.
I would definitely consider that
Now,
myself.
there's, there's no pedestrian sidewalk on the adjoining properties to connect down through,
Right.
but, I mean, just for consideration here, I made a sketch after we went to the Borough Planning Commission last week, just to show you guys what this might look like here. So I mean, here's the parking spaces that we're looking at here, and then essentially, turn this the same way you're looking at that one. So this is just, you know, a gravel walkway parallel to the edge of the road. Fortunately, right now, it's pretty flat in that area, so it shouldn't take much in the way of grading to make that happen. In discussion with the planners, they were acceptable with this, because again, they look at it like it's an improvement, and if at any time in the future, these other properties get sidewalk or, you know, macadam walkways or whatever, at that point in time, the property owner would then, you know, macadamize this walkway to provide that pedestrian access extending along Woodland Avenue. You guys want to take a look at this too? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but like I said, it's just showing a walkway going along here over to that western property line. And that was one of the conditions that they had in their recommendation for the plan approval, was that the plan would be updated to include that. So as I said, if you guys are all right with the plan as it is, if you want to see something changed, you know.
I mean, at the end of the day, I just don't like the parking spaces right on the road, because
Could you go
right now,
20
the way that it is, they don't have to stop in the middle of the road. They can still pull into the parking lot. Even if these cars are all parked along the building, they can pull off the road and then figure out where they're gonna park. They're not stopping in the middle of the road.
You go 20 foot wide, and it gives you a 10-foot lane that they can get in, and then they jack into another 8-foot stall or something.
It's tight now, basically. They're pulling up against the, you know.
They're pulling right in front of their units, but
Yeah.
they're
Instead of
They're
you
doing it with
propose
another-
12 foot.
It's
Go to
similar,
go to 20
similar
foot.
to parking in town, they have a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone, and
it
then
was
Town or
stoplights and straight.
Hamburg, or
No.
wherever you parallel park.
I mean, they come around this turn right here, which is not very far away, and there's a car stopped in the middle of the road, you know, attempting to learn how to parallel park in the middle of Woodland Road.
Do we have other situations in the township where we have parking designated as parallel parking right off of the roadway? I mean, a little bit maybe over in Edinburgh, New Edinburgh area.
Old 22, your old place in front of Harry Adams, paint store there.
That's not necessarily parallel parking, it's just parking along the,
What if you have everybody blocked in and you have to parallel,
there's so many mailboxes there, nobody ever can parallel park, you can only put like so many cars there.
you know?
So this is kind of a new situation for the township, right? Having this kind of configuration.
I don't know, Ben would know,
Ben?
is there anything like this, Ben?
No. Essentially, it's, as Mr. Martin said, it's on-street parking. It's the same as it would be, you know, a quarter mile down the road on Woodland or any other streets within the borough. I realize that this is partially in the borough and partially in the township. Again, you know, we felt like this was an improvement over what's there now, because it provides a greater physical separation from the buildings and the vehicles. When I look at this, I can appreciate the idea to provide that physical separation here. Like I said, I do have concerns about how the grading is gonna work, just because you can't have this perfectly level across the front and have adequate drainage and the curb for access. So I mean, like, there would be considerations that would have to be looked at to see how that would be possible to move that access back. My bigger concern is that it's gonna create additional stormwater runoff that's gonna require additional earth disturbance, additional design, additional disturbance of the property that's here. And that's what we're hoping to avoid, to keep this from becoming too big and too much of an impact on the property.
I'm still not real good on the parking, like even before I looked at the plans, when I was reading how it was going to be designed, I'm like, I don't know, it seems like Josh said, a little bit of hazardous, you know, getting into the parking situation, plowing it is a situation, setting the precedent for the rest of the township with parking set up like this, which I've not seen before. And I can't picture how else you finagle things to make it work though.
How much room is there between the street and the parking spaces?
It's 12 feet from the edge of the road.
So we put in, we propose to widen this lane to be 12 feet. So right now, it's probably only somewhere between 10 and 11 feet, depending on where you're measuring. This lane on our side of the center line of the road. So we propose to widen that to provide, again, more space on the road, and then 12-foot wide here. So I mean, essentially, you got 24 feet from the center line of the road to the curb.
So the curb is on the building side of the parking spaces?
Correct. Generally, again, most designs for multifamily residential, you want to have some sort of physical barrier in between where you park and where the
Mhm.
building is.
But that 12 feet between the road and the parking spaces is gonna be grass. Is that correct?
Not with the plan that we have here. The plan that we have here is, the parking spaces are right off the side of the road. What Josh was talking about was trying to provide a grass buffer. Now, if you're gonna provide an access lane that's only 12 feet wide next to 12-foot parking spaces, you're doubling the amount of paving that we're doing in here, and you're still only gonna have a tiny little strip of grass along the side of the road there.
No, what a conundrum.
It's a tricky one because because it exists now. I mean, we're trying to make it better without going overboard to redesign the site.
Is the parking in the right of way then?
Correct, the parking would be within the ultimate right of way. Again, this is why there would be no plan notation and/or agreements in place to state that it's privately owned, privately maintained, even though it's within the ultimate right of way. To my knowledge, again, Russell's not here, but I don't know that Windsor Township officially takes dedication of ultimate right of way. It's just offered, and that offer stays good for 21 years, I believe it is, and Township has the opportunity to take it at any point they want in the future. But generally, they don't take it unless they need it for something. Do you know how it works there, Ken?
Different in every community.
Different in every community, correct. All right, so unfortunately, that'd be something that we'd probably need some guidance from Russell on as to whether it gets taken to be simple, but my assumption is generally not based on previous work that I've done in Windsor Township.
Ben, how do you feel about this? You're the one who's gonna be plowing the snow. Do you see a problem here?
The plowing's not an issue, it's just with their sight distance there not coming out of town, but heading towards 61. Because you're coming up the hill and coming around that little turn there, you know.
It was just a good accident, wasn't there last winter? Some kid came and hit that tree.
Yeah, they hit the tree there.
Yeah.
But that was coming out of town, but that was,
Right, right.
you know.
Yeah,
But as far as plowing, there's no issue there for plowing.
yeah, and when we looked at this bend in the road here is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's, the cars coming up here, they're heading in that direction. The cars coming the opposite direction are gonna be on the opposite side of the road. So we didn't view that as a safety hazard for street parking or parallel parking on the south side of Woodland Road, because the cars they can't see are coming they'll be in the opposite lane. There shouldn't be a conflict with them.
How about a parking garage? Oh, my goodness.
Self-service elevator, just.
You couldn't make this wider, huh? You're thinking too much water then, something you don't like.
Listen, he's trying not to make it more impervious surface, because more impervious surface means underground water retention or giant basins and like a whole other can of worms. And so putting the parking spaces right at the road in the right of way minimizes the amount of, so we're moving the building farther away from the road, which is nice, but then we're putting the cars like on the white line, which are now parked in front of the building, which granted is closer to the road, but the cars are pulling off onto his property and then parking directly in front of the building. So they're less of an impediment in Woodland Road's traffic flow currently than I believe they will be once this is done this way.
That's what they're doing currently. And there was a tenant there when I purchased the property. He always parked the other way. He backed out on the Woodland Road to leave.
Yeah, I mean, the few times that I've been by the lot, sometimes, like I said, they would be parked in on an angle, some of them, and they would back out into the road.
Oh, and that's not good either.
Right, that's not good either.
But that was put in there 50 years ago, and none of us were sitting here then.
I understand. I mean, you know, this is our,
And backing out like that is almost worse than
Yeah.
parallel parking.
right, blind backing out is worse than parallel parking. This is our concept on how to try to, you know, improve the parking. I realize it's, as you said, it's, you know, technically the cars are a little further off the road now, depending on how they park, but there's no real, it's sort of a mishmash how they can park. They can park however they want.
Is there a way to keep the cars as far off the road as they are now?
That would be doing what I mentioned, but again, you're doubling, to their point, you're doubling the amount of impervious, because you'd need a driving lane then, and you would need a parking space.
So
instead
you
of-
would need, you're saying you'd need a driving lane, or you just need a wider parking space so you can, say, be halfway off the road when you do your parking?
So I think he's suggesting that we just widen this so that way there's, instead of it being
12 feet off, you
12
have 14 feet.
you'd be, I mean, again, you know, whatever. I mean, we could look at it and say, right, if it's 14 feet or
That's not really gonna help with anything.
The only other thing you could really do is go pervious pavement. Blacktop where the water goes through it.
still counts as impervious coverage.
Does it really?
It absolutely does. For every zoning ordinance that I know, I would have to ask your zoning officer, but generally, it's all still considered to be impervious. The only way you can get a credit on the stormwater runoff is if you have it designed with an infiltration facility underneath
Yes.
that directly complies, and the chances that you're gonna find some suitable soils underneath the gravel park, existing
Yeah.
gravel parking lot that's been compacted by car traffic for the last several decades is probably not likely.
It's a nice try, John.
It
I
was,
did like that.
it really is, and pervious paving came out,
It's a pain to maintain though, because you can't seal it, you can't overlay it.
you can't put gravel.
No, you can't do nothing to
Right,
it.
so that's the other problem.
Hyundai has it up there and it's actually unraveling.
It,
That's what I've been seeing with,
We put it in,
Nice
we put it
long-
in and it's looking too nice.
takes in water,
Plus makes you-
spaces in the window.
And you can't seal it, and you're actually supposed to have a schedule, have a street sweeper
in a vacuum,
clean it every so many years.
and you can't run a snowplow over it,
Yeah, oh really?
because it could seal up
Uh-huh.
the porous surface. So you
I'm
gotta-
sure they're not doing that. They'll change names.
Where is
That's
that?
it.
Where is that? Is
Hyundai
that-
dealer, yeah. When you come in the main road to the left, you'll see the difference in
I'll have to
gradient.
look.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, it's different, but, yeah.
Huh.
So
That used to be
generally-
big, but now everyone's getting away from it.
Well, I mean, right, because it was
The
it
maintenance.
was a thing that people could say, all right, well, I'm gonna do this, and it'll comply, and then you got to the point that most townships saw that what was going in wasn't actually functioning the
Your
way.
cars that parallel park, when the driver opens his or her door, that'll be out onto the road, is that correct?
It depends on how wide their vehicle is. So if their vehicle is under 8 feet, which is most, then theoretically, if their tires are tight to the curb, they will have 4 feet. And
And that's to the edge of a 12-foot wide lane, which right now it's only about 10 to 11 feet wide. So again, there should be enough room for cars to park with this layout and open their car door and get out, unless you're driving a big old Cadillac with a door that's 6 feet long.
or his truck.
Or his truck.
Yeah.
Could you leave it in stone and he has to maintain it? Make sure the owner
It's
of the
still,
property.
it's still considered pervious surface.
Well, I mean, also that's a
Because that's what he has now.
zoning consideration. Again, I don't recall specifics in the variance or the zoning hearing board decision that said that the parking lot had to be brought up to code, but I think it was that, you know, the intention was that every effort would be made to provide 2 parking spaces for every unit in compliance with the ordinance. Now, I mean, if we eliminate the curb, again, you know, like, I don't think there's 2 parking spaces being provided now. So, I mean, again, you know, if this is, yeah. If the planning commission would prefer to see less parking spaces, you'd have to discuss with your zoning officer whether or not that would be required, or whether that would be allowed, because the planning commission doesn't have.
Wider be safer.
I'm, in addition to keeping the cars a little further from the road, I'm also trying to alleviate them stopping in the middle of the road to then.
That I
back in-
understand.
To back in, so, yes, wider would get them further from the road, less chance of somebody opening a door and getting, you know, taken out. But if there is a way, which there is, we just need to get through the red tape, to get people off the road first, and then back into a parking space that's on this property, I think that would be safer. So, all things considered, I think that's the safer option for the people on the road.
I was thinking like just pave an 8-foot strip so these people don't damage the township road, and then stone the rest. And then water will go through the stone.
But it's
Which
still,
means
but
certain
by
stones.
zoning, it's still considered impervious.
By stormwater regulations, gravel's still considered to be impervious because they assume that it's gonna be compacted enough over time it will be impervious, or that it's gonna get paved.
Well, the safest would be your recommendation.
But
That creates impervious surface above and beyond what they have currently, which requires then a multitude of other improvements.
A safer one would be widening that parking area 2 feet.
That would be safer than what's here, I think. What are you guys thinking?
Well, that's what I said, if you have like a 10-foot strip, then your stall would be maybe 8 foot wide, 18 foot off the roadway, instead of 12.
Well, I don't think they have enough, they're not making up that much space, because while they're shrinking this down, they made it so much wider, and all of this concrete is part of that impervious surface too, so
Yeah,
if
most of
they're
the-
robbing from Peter to pay Paul, I don't think there's a lot in here to add. You'd probably be lucky to get 2 feet this whole length.
Right, the majority of the expansion is providing the extra parking spaces for 2 spaces per unit plus an ADA space for compliance. Again, if somehow we can circumvent zoning compliance for number of required parking spaces without having to go back to the zoning hearing board, I think, you know, we might be able to have a conversation with it, but as it stands right now, the goal is to try and provide parking spaces that's the most compliant with the ordinance, and that's what we have on the plan here.
I would like to see an improvement. I'm not sure how much is relevant, required, appropriate.
And by doing more, then you need stormwater and all that, is what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. If we expand the impervious surface, we're pretty close to break even now. I think it's like a couple hundred square feet, which is like, as Josh said, you're not gonna get much when you're in expanding additional here. If we have to add an extra 4 feet along the whole side, that's gonna be some type of stormwater management's gonna be
If you just
required.
make this 3 apartments, all of our problems go away.
It probably just doesn't make sense, you know.
Right.
I think, you know, again, the goal here is to improve what's there now, that the existing apartment units that are there now are in disrepair.
Well, and I think as far as the building goes, yes, it's an improvement. The building's further from the road, the apartments are slightly bigger, it's gonna be all new construction, up to code. Like, from that perspective, it is a better build. I think that the cars, while it will look nicer, and you will have a curb there to keep the people parking from driving into their house, you are pushing them closer to the road and putting them in a little bit more of a precarious situation with having to parallel park off of there. And I think that's really the only hangup. I mean, there really isn't a whole lot else to discuss in this plan with the variances that you've been given.
And you can't do nothing over here, right? No parking lot over there.
Now, again, the site all drops off. I mean, over here, this is where the septic system is. And the site drops off. And again, anything we're doing here is expansion of impervious coverage is gonna be more stormwater controls required. Whether you're putting the parking over here or in front of the building.
Ben has a question. Here we go. He solves it.
No. It's something similar, but it's different. Over on Chappelle Road, what used to be the Worley farm, and Francis Worley had it,
Can't bring it together.
about a quarter mile up from 61.
For 10.
They park on the opposite side of the
Well,
road
that's
there.
usually 6 here and 4
They had
here.
a little
Yeah,
parking,
yeah,
they
yeah.
parallel park there.
Well, the other thing is, once you build a parking
Yeah,
lot, you're gonna
and
need
that's-
stormwater
that's
for it.
a
There's
heavier
no place to put
travel road.
stormwater except
Yeah, and I
either
question that too.
under the parking lot if the soil
But that's
would
been
support it.
grandfathered
Right,
in
exactly.
because,
Or not.
Because they park there.
yeah, there's no
Yeah.
other place
And
to
you
park,
have to
so.
bring it
No.
all up to grade because you have like a.
That's a state road too,
this is
ain't it?
2
Yeah, that's a state road.
6-foot drop off there.
It is, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, you know.
But it sounds like there ain't too much more you can really do. Right? We can't put another parking lot in, we can't widen it, you can't go across the street, right?
I mean, I don't know what we're allowed to request, I guess is the question. And I don't know that, Russell would probably be the one to tell us.
Could
While we want to
Russell being
see,
your solicitor.
yeah, while we want this to
He
be,
planted the idea in my head about putting a curb in
yeah,
at
So I
one of the
think-
meetings prior.
while we all would want to see this improved, and we don't necessarily want to put the onus on you to have to put more stormwater controls in, at the same time, when it comes to the safety of the people in there, if it's to essentially curb your costs, and that's why we're pushing them closer to the road, I don't know that that's the best decision for us.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please. Please.
I don't have a magic wand, and you're having an extremely good discussion here. Safety is paramount, and I understand the stormwater management aggregation. But we don't know what the stormwater would require. I don't think the increase in the impervious coverage would be that onerous. Of course, the owner doesn't want to spend extra money. I gather that,
Right.
I get that. But this all dumps in one end, right, Rob, where you have the riprap,
No, we're at a high point here, so it technically it's gonna.
goes both ways.
Goes both ways.
This, I'm just guessing here, but this isn't a tremendous increase in impervious cover. It may just take level spreaders or mini pond at each end to solve the problem. I don't know, I know you don't want to go through that aggravation, but.
Well, I mean, as you know, it depends on how much extra impervious coverage you add. The more impervious coverage you add, the more stormwater management's problem.
But you have to go through the conservation district anyway, right?
We will, yes.
Yeah, so this is, I don't think this is going to get a DEP involvement here. This is going to be at the conservation district level.
Well, again, it depends on how much more you add and what's needed for stormwater. If it goes over an acre, then it's NPDS, and then it's a whole nother bang.
You're not approaching an acre now, are you?
I haven't factored in the gravel walkway yet, so I think I was around 6/10 of an acre if I add that in. But again,
I think it'd be worthwhile your effort to do a little research on that so the planning commission can weigh the merits of either cost. I mean, I very much appreciate the idea of getting the extra paving, getting people off the street further. That has a tremendous amount of merit. And I appreciate the fact that this is indeed an improvement, there's no question about that. You can do it, Rob, Christmas Eve, you got nothing else to do.
Yeah, I guess, my other concern is just functionality as far as like, the way the topography of the site is, and the site drops off in elevation, so trying to push the flat further back means more structural fill and more steeper slopes, downslope of where your improvements lie. If for some reason, like you were suggesting, Josh, if we could knock off 2 parking spaces, that would make it easier to stay up here on the flat with our parking spaces up in front of the building, similar to how it is now. So like the parking doesn't expand as far along the road currently because there's less parking spaces there. It's just right up against the front of the building.
If you remove the parking spaces, that's a trip to the zoning hearing board? I'm asking the question.
Well, no, I'm asking the question too. So again, since we were already there, and since this is technically an existing non-conformity, would we have to go back again because we're modifying that parking lot in order to provide a layout that has less than 2 parking spaces per unit, but matches what the existing conditions are? That's I think that's a solicitor question, but I don't know for a fact. Or a zoning officer question, one of the two.
Are they also making you do the handicap parking space, or was that just you wanting to?
That's
required.
That's a zoning requirement. I don't know if that's gonna be a L&I requirement for the new building also, but it's a zoning requirement to have one handicap parking space.
I think safety is paramount.
Yeah, I'd like the parking spaces off the road. Whatever from an engineering standpoint that looks like, I'd like to see the spaces off the road in whatever configuration you can make that. I don't think that adding another 12 inches off the road curb is gonna be sufficient. Again, I'm trying to alleviate the cars backing, like stopping on Woodland Road and backing up in the middle of the street.
I hear you.
Which, like the storage facility down the end of the road, like they have to park in the middle of the street and open the gate and they get back in their car and drive in. Like that's also a terrible design. I mean, but again, that's been there for 40 years and, you know, whoever approved that then, you know, so be it.
Well, the thing with it being close to the road, to me, is opening car doors
Yeah.
creates a danger in itself to the open door, but the person coming down the street, seeing the door open, their knee-jerk reaction is to go across the street into the oncoming lane.
Right, but you also gotta look at this on their point is, when you go down 4th Street, what do those people do? They're gonna stop traffic, they're gonna
I
stop
do feel
traffic.
it's different though in town.
Yeah.
Not speed limit's the same as.
But I mean,
speed limit, though.
mindset wise, I feel it's different in town. Like when I drive through town, I am anticipating people stopping to do their parallel parking. When I be coming off of 61 with you know, I just finally broke 3 of the traffic on 61 and I'm like hightailing it to get home, I might not be anticipating that happening here.
What Polly's saying is that she speeds every now and then.
If
I'm
the
just
speed
thinking
limit's
people.
25, it's the same as it is on 4th Street.
Right, and he's giving you 4 feet more. Then what you have
I'm
on
talking
board.
about human nature. I know you got the same numbers here. I mean, I get it, but I'm talking about human nature, how people behave. So if we want to look at it from a safety standpoint, and I think it's something you can't overlook, now that we spoke of it.
Would you be trying to take this to the meeting tomorrow?
Again,
You have to go through like a process, I'm assuming?
so if you guys.
Because we could get you a hard no right now, like 2 of them are right here, so I mean, that's.
I mean, again, I don't think, I'll make any surmises
Right.
that we're gonna be on the agenda for tomorrow
Right.
night. I'm here to talk with you guys. If you guys feel that, you know, you can make a recommendation on this plan, then we would ask your consultants if we would be on the agenda, or if it's too late to get on the agenda for tomorrow night. It might be that we have to wait till next month again. that's gonna be up to how the township functions. And again, the supervisors obviously haven't looked at this plan yet either.
Right.
So, I would assume that if this one, if anything, you know, since this is the first time the planning commission is seeing this plan,
Yeah.
more than likely, we would not be on the agenda for a review tomorrow night. But again, if, you know,
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna make a recommendation on this one. I'm assuming you're not either.
No, not as
So-
it plays, no.
I'd like to see the parking spaces further from the road. Unfortunately, I don't think we have the ability to tell you whether or not dropping 2 parking spaces is going to be something that we can waive or the supervisors can waive. I assume that at some level, somebody can just say, you don't need them, and it's okay. So if you wanted to draw it both ways, if you can't make 10 parking spaces work, I would say draw it. I personally would rather see the cars in a safer configuration than having the allotted arbitrary number that likely won't be needed. But I don't know if I can make that decision or if the supervisors can, and our solicitor's not here to tell us either, so.
okay. You don't have any issues with me reaching out to Ryan and Russell?
No.
To try and have that conversation? Okay. 'Cause
Please do. The more wrinkles you can get out of this before you come back in, that would be fantastic.
This is the first submission, Rob, right?
Correct.
So you got 90 days.
Yeah, we have 90 days from today until we either need a time extension or the township would have to act on the plan.
Okay. You're getting closer. You're getting closer.
I guess I would ask
As
for,
long as them come together by spring.
I guess, since we're here tonight, if there's no motion on the plan, there are a few waiver requests that I would like consideration on.
Okay.
Number one is, this plan was submitted as a preliminary / final plan, because, again, it's a very simple plan. We're not creating a new building, it's just replacing the old building with a new one and making improvements. So we're asking for relief from separate preliminary and final plan submissions and approvals. This would essentially be reviewed, as it has been already, as a single preliminary / final plan to provide compliance with all planning requirements. It basically just keeps us from having to come here, get a preliminary plan approval, go to the supervisors, get a preliminary plan approval, submit a final plan, come back here, get final plan approval, and then go back to the supervisors.
Yeah, nobody wants to waste that time. I think that's so bad.
The next one is the location map scale. The location map scale is, the ordinance requires that we 1 equals 800 due to the overall size of the property. We provided this at 1 equals 1,000 to show a significant area surrounding the property. Generally, that's something that's usually given. Your township engineer comments in his letter said that he doesn't object to that relief.
When you're zooming in and out on your computer, Jerry, it won't matter much.
We gotta be the same thing, Josh.
Right? We're working on it.
And last but not least is monuments. Again, we didn't do a boundary survey for the entire property. Spoken with your consultants, and, you know, the consideration would be to provide monuments on either side where the property line comes on the south side of Woodland Road, and perhaps provide some additional markers along the ultimate right-of-way of Woodland Road, at where it makes sense, because I mean, with the steep slopes and such, it doesn't really make sense to put pins and markers down at the bottom of a hill. It's not gonna be something that's gonna be beneficial for anybody trying to figure out where the right-of-way is or resurvey a line from.
So you're looking for a waiver for all monuments or just some of them?
Partial waiver. So the partial waiver would be that we provide 2 monuments on the south side and steel rebar and/or, as the right-of-way currently runs across this parking area, maybe mag nails or rebar, depending on what best suits the surface to the satisfaction.
So the monuments would be down in here somewhere?
So monuments would be off the side of the road there and there.
Okay.
So that would mark, generally the requirement is to monument the ultimate right-of-way along Woodland Road. So, and then we'd have 2 monuments, one on either end, and then maybe we'd have, you know, a steel pin here and another one on the opposite side of the parking. Again, if we're revising the layout for this, it's gonna change what proposed features are gonna be there, and what makes the most sense as far as placing markers along that right of way.
Entertain a motion to grant the requested waivers as submitted.
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Who seconded
First one.
Eric.
that? Eric seconded.
Yep.
Mhm.
Cool. That part's done.
All right, did you guys get a chance to look over the engineer's review letter? Was there any specific comments in there that we need to go over?
Nope.
Ken, anything we didn't touch base on yet?
No, I think the rest of the stuff is pretty straightforward. Of course, you have some homework to do.
I do. Okay. I'd like to thank everybody for your time and consideration this evening. If there's any other questions, feel free to let me know.
Okay. Next meeting is January 20th, so if you've got everything ready by then, probably the best time to come, that way we can get this guy in before springtime.
You guys are doing reviews 2 months in a row? Look at that.
Only because it fell on the end of it's an organizational meeting.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Where'd the paper go? There it is with you. Okay, these are mine. These are all yours.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, would you like a copy of this plan to review in the advance, or?
Well, you have to, they have to approve it first, right?
That's, again, I just want to make sure that if you wanted the opportunity to review, you have it.
Jerry, do you want an emailed copy of that?
But you denied the request.
Correct.
Right? So
But
there's
maybe
two
you- I mean-
modifications.
Right.
Yeah, so no, I don't need to see a copy of that one, but
Okay.
once you approve it and report from the supervisors, all three need to get a copy of it.
Sure.
Because the point is, the meeting is going on and it's passed over, and we're supposed to make a decision like that. And a lot of stuff has been missed in the past on these plans, all right? So when we see the plans, we get to review them, and issues are found, all right? That's the purpose.
Sure.
Is that a protocol that the supervisors would lay out for procedural protocol for the future?
I believe the engineers are sending it to the township manager or secretary, and that person is supposed to send it out to the board.
Well, in this particular situation, I mean, it's unique in the sense that they would have theoretically gotten a conditional approval from us today, and your meeting is tomorrow. And so you would only have had 1 day in between there.
Right.
So yeah, it could have been sent out tonight, but you would have only had 1 day to look at it.
Sure.
Generally speaking, though, you know, it's a month away, 2 months away before you're seeing it.
The agenda though has to be on the agenda, 24 hours before the meeting time? Yeah. So
Yes.
we wouldn't really know at this period of the night enough to get it on tomorrow's
Correct.
agenda.
Yeah.
So it would have still been bumped anyway.
So I guess the waivers would not be on the supervisor's agenda then either tomorrow. That would be
Technically, no.
next in January. Or would that wait until the plan is ready?
It's technically,
Yeah, we could, yeah, that would be more appropriate at the organizational meeting in January.
New business is just that we're doing our organizational meeting on the 20th of January of 2026, everyone. Any other planning commission concerns?
I thought Ryan was gonna be here and I wanted to say something about if we should be getting anything in order to address data centers in the future. The way the data centers are taking up some of the smaller township plans for development. I just wanted to talk to Ryan about that if he had any ideas, so going forward, we need to look at that and get ahead of it before it gets ahead of us.
Are you no longer on planning commission after you get on the supervisors, or are you allowed to do both?
You can do both. I believe I'm allowed to do both.
Yeah, you could do both.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
you can do both.
yeah.
I
A city supervisor can also be on the planning commission.
would like to I would like to stay on. I feel like I've learned,
Yeah, no, yeah.
like,
sure.
I've only been here like 2 years, and I just feel like I'm learning as I go, and I feel like I've learned much more recently. And
I think it's
hate-
great.
I hear you.
Yeah, is it,
I think it's three, because you were before me.
so 3 years, just.
You were right before me, I think.
All right, good.
Yeah, another question. So we have a fifth member who actually has been named, right? Isn't Warren Moyer
Yeah.
one of our guys? And I've never even met him, so
Yeah.
that's a thought. And then Kyle is still our alternate.
I don't think Kyle's in it anymore, is
And
he?
he's the alternate, which
Is Kyle even in it?
he's been named the alternate, so I don't,
Oh,
I think he sat in the.
I thought he got out of it. I thought he got out.
Not officially,
Oh.
but he's never been needed either, so.
Right, exactly. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you so much. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas.